What's the most ridiculous dating preference you've heard of? My friend claims to only want to date Japanese girls, despite not living in Japan or any community with a Japanese population. Furthermore, he has never even met a Japanese girl. His opinion is based solely on watching anime. Dude wanted a Japanese woman who spoke Spanish and cooked Mexican food. Only dating people with a specific astrological sign or birth date. I heard about someone who refused to date anyone who didn't have at least 10 houseplants. Met a woman who confessed her hobby, restoring old cars, repulsed most men because not a feminine activity. Au contraire, I thought it was attractive as hell, and we had lengthy conversations where I did some researches, asked questions, listened her talk about her passion. She ended our exchanges when I casually told her I wasn't proficient with tools and tinkering outside computers, her justification being a manly man knows how to use tools. Only dating people who dislike chocolate. My only requirements are they must be green and live in a swamp. Girl I knew only dated guys with trucks, due to masculinity. Straight up said she couldn't take a guy who drove a woman's car seriously to do a man's role in her life. Guy she wound up with was shorter than average, small and scrawny, worked an office job, and was pretty much the opposite of the big burly masculine type. But he drove a truck. I found that so odd. I flip cars, so what I drive can change on a daily basis. I can't imagine that being a deal breaker for someone. Not dating Android users. A kid I worked with said that he wanted to date someone who was physically fit, worked out at the same gym, had a certain style hair, drove, lived by herself, and there was a whole host of other preferences. We did the maths, and there were roughly 5 people in town who met that list. Some girl on TikTok was talking about this guy she met who only dated women with lip filler because he believed that meant they had money. Face with tears of joy, face with tears of joy, face with tears of joy, face with tears of joy. A woman I knew mentioned she was looking for a man who made at least $500,000 per year and was also an artist type and not a workaholic. I was like, I think those items are in conflict, sweet tang. I once heard someone insist their date must have the same brand of toothpaste preference. Like, seriously? It's about compatibility, not dental hygiene uniformity. Having an active social media presence. Multiple people tell me that my choice not to use social media was a huge red flag, but in reality I got rid of my accounts because they were making me miserable. I got rid of my Facebook or Instagram/Twitter accounts 2 years ago, and have been noticeably happier ever since. I dated a girl who full out admitted that she was dating me, a POC, to look progressive. My wife's best friend doesn't last long in relationships because she's waiting for the perfect man to come along. Perfect features, makes good money, treats her like a queen. No flaws whatsoever. She's living in a fairy tale. Specific race, specific piercing, fat ass, short curly bouncy hair, freckles, must have athletic/fit body, no social media, no Twitch/YouTuber, no guy friends, but he can have girls that are friends. I can go on and on. You must be okay with hypocritical views/double standards for him. I'm not making this shit up. Dude thinking there's some build-a-bitch workshop out there. Only dating people who wear a certain brand of clothing. I once knew a woman who wouldn't date a guy because the back of his head was too flat. I don't think it's actually that abnormal, but I had a friend in the Air Force whose only qualification in a partner was how gigantic her tits were. Not like big, but absolutely colossal. He'd have dated Kathy Bates from Misery if her boobs were F cups. Those people of either sex who bring absolutely nothing to the table in terms of looks, personality, finances, grooming, or hygiene, but then insist they're entitled to only the top 0.001% of partners. Anyone who is looking for a partner to function as a means to an end has ridiculous dating preferences. My family friend was an immigrant who desired for their daughter to go out with a man from Vietnam. I had never met another Vietnamese family until they were. Our home was in a rural area of Maine. 6 feet, 6 figures, 6 inches. Astrology stuff. I work with someone who only wants to marry someone from her church. Not her faith, her physical church of 20 people. There's this one girl I repeatedly see on dating sites, so she's been on there a long time, as have I. Nothing really wrong with her looks-wise, but she is in her 30s and she makes it very clear she's still a virgin. She wants a guy who is also a virgin, doesn't watch porn, and won't even entertain dating any guy that drinks or smokes, even sometimes. And on top of that, doesn't want some Mormon or otherwise religious/conservative guy, since she's not religious/conservative herself. Like, lady, what planet are you on? Somebody who only dates people who own yachts. Obese people that refuse to date other obese people while simultaneously claiming that being larger is more sexually appealing. This is a friend of mine's preference, and I'll say it in her own words. A tall Asian guy who has a black guy's physique who's also great at dancing reggaeton and bachata. A buddy of mine said he only wanted to date Korean girls. One of our mutual friends at college tried to set him up with her roommate, who was an exchange student from Korea. The next day she asked him if they were gonna see each other again, and he said no, she didn't fit his standards. Turns out the only Korean women he wanted were K-pop idols. Matched with someone on Bumble, she asked my Myers-Briggs personality type. I told her it was ENTP and asked hers. She unmatched. Honestly, not even mad. Gotta respect the hustle. I've literally heard a woman say to me that her ex-boyfriend was too nice for her, and I'd be too nice for her, and that she'd need an asshole to keep her in line. She'd never date anyone who she'd be friends with. She later came out as a lesbian and has only been with women since the past 11 years. I have a male friend who dates much younger women who are high maintenance. I know it's very common, but the dynamic is disturbing. He gets to use her for arm candy, and she gets to use him for money. A dynamic made in hell. I want to date someone if their name is too ugly. I know a guy that is into older women, and by older I mean much older, like their last dating experience older. Not the most ridiculous, but I got a good laugh when my friend said he wanted to set his dating profile to exclude girls with small dogs that can't breathe well. My GF's friend wants her date to send her money beforehand, so she can get her hair, nails done, then send her a ride from her house and pay for her meal. She claims, my presence is a blessing to men. She is 28. She's single for the past 3 years and still trying to find a good man. I wonder where all the good men are. I used to be friends with someone who wouldn't date over 30 when he was like 32 to 33. He was with a woman nearly 40 purely because she let him come in her, but then set his sights on a girl at his supermarket job who was freshly 21, then another who was 17. That's just one reason I stopped talking to him. I've been with a boy for more than a year. The first time I invited him to my twin birthday party, he said he doesn't date Gemini and disappeared. Before that, he never asked my birthday, never talked about astrology or stars. I know a woman who prefers to be in abusive relationships.